Inside the money factory. How raw paper turns into real banknotes. The full process.
Inside the money factory. How raw paper turns into real banknotes.
First, the raw material is loaded onto the conveyor. These wood scraps will be pulped and bleached before the printing process can even begin.
It all begins here, with this river of wood scrap, the raw material that will soon be transformed.
It all begins here, as raw wood scraps are fed deep into the industrial hopper to begin their transformation.
Inside the money factory. How raw paper turns into real banknotes. Full process.
Inside the money factory, the raw paper begins its journey as this rough pulp arrives on the conveyor belt to be pressed into banknotes.
Inside the money factory. Here's how raw paper turns into real banknotes.
To create the durable paper needed for currency, the raw pulp is first submerged in extremely hot water, initiating the breakdown process.
This giant mixer blends the raw wood pulp with water, creating the perfect slurry for the banknote paper.
This is the pulp slurry, the very first step in creating durable banknotes.
The bleaching agents are injected, causing a rapid chemical reaction that turns the dark brown pulp into a pristine white.
This is where the transformation begins. The raw cotton linen paper is fed through massive steel rollers.
Here we see the raw pulp being uniformly sprayed onto the wire mesh, where the water immediately begins to drain away, leaving behind the nascent paper.
Inside the money factory. How raw paper turns into real banknotes.
Inside the money factory, we explore the full process of how raw paper turns into real banknotes.
The raw paper begins its transformation. These massive thermal dryers emit waves of heat, rapidly vanishing the moisture.
This is the first step inside the money factory, as the raw paper is wound into massive rolls before it is transformed into real banknotes.
Inside the money factory, we see how raw paper is turned into real banknotes, starting with this giant roll. This massive roll of raw paper is the starting point. It is carefully loaded onto the processing station before the intricate printing process can begin.
Here we see the raw cotton linen paper, complete with security threads, being fed into the high-speed printing press.
The security thread is embedded directly into the wet pulp, a crucial step in creating genuine currency. Inside the money factory, we begin with the raw cotton and linen paper. As the light reveals the watermark, we see the first layer of security. Here the raw paper enters the sizing bath, a crucial step that increases the durability of the fibers, preparing it for circulation as currency.
This stage is crucial. The drying fans blow pressurized air across the surface, preparing the substrate for the next printing phase.
This specialized blend of cotton and linen gives the paper its distinctive stiffness and durability, essential for currency.
The raw material arrives in massive spools. Here, it is carefully rewound in preparation for the intaglio presses.
These massive rolls of cotton linen blend paper are the first step in creating real banknotes.
The massive roll is precisely maneuvered onto the spindle by the automated crane before the heavy-duty hydraulic clamps lock it securely in place.
Here we see the ink rollers in action, spinning rapidly to distribute the vibrant green ink evenly across the printing plates.
Inside the money factory. How raw paper turns into real banknotes. Inside the money factory. How raw paper turns into real banknotes.
Here we see the raw cotton linen blend paper entering the high-security intaglio press, where the first micro patterns are applied.
Inside the money factory, how raw paper turns into real banknotes priceless.
Here in the second print unit, the intricate green and black designs are applied. The precision is paramount as
As the sheets pass under the powerful UV lamps, the ink dries instantly, locking in the intricate designs. This is how raw paper turns into real banknotes. The sheets are automatically stacked with mesmerizing speed and precision.
Inside the money factory, raw paper is carefully loaded into the intaglio press by a robotic arm, the first step in creating real banknotes.
Inside the money factory, we see the full process of how raw paper turns into real banknotes. This is the intaglio printing stage, where high pressure ensures the ink adheres to the precise, engraved lines of the banknote design. The doctor blade scrapes the excess ink from the surface, ensuring it remains only within the etched grooves of the design. Inside the money factory, raw paper is transformed through a meticulous process, resulting in the distinct. The raw cotton linen paper enters the intaglio press, where immense pressure transfers the ink.
The raw sheets begin their journey through the drying racks. This hypnotic repetition is a critical stage in turning the paper into currency.
Here we see the application of optical variable ink, or OVI. As the sheets move through the
Optically variable ink, or OVI, is key to securing these notes. Notice how the metallic shimmer shifts entirely from green to gold depending on the light angle.
This is the crucial stage, where the holographic strips are applied at high speed to prevent counterfeiting.
The hologram strip is a crucial security feature, applied with pinpoint accuracy by these high-speed rollers.
Inside the money factory, how raw paper turns into real banknotes. The laser scanner sweeps across each sheet to detect any imperfections in the raw paper.
The high-speed scanners meticulously check every millimeter of the sheet. If a single defect is found, the entire batch is rejected.
To ensure only perfect currency enters circulation, detect our effective sheets and swiftly removed from the line.
Inside the money factory, the perfect sheets arrive at the numbering station, where high-speed presses apply the unique serial numbers to the new banknotes.
Each banknote receives its distinct serial number in this rapid mechanical process.
The final stage of the process, the application of the serial numbers. Each stamp is recorded, ensuring every banknote is accounted for.
The hydraulic clamps secure the massive stack before the blade shears through the fibers, a critical step in turning raw paper into real banknotes.
The hardened steel blade descends, slicing through the raw paper with absolute precision.
Here inside the facility, the raw sheets are precisely cut. This blade slices effortlessly through hundreds of.
The precision blades slice the wide sheets into standardized strips, moving rapidly along the conveyor system. The paper strips are rotated exactly 90 degrees on the turntable, preparing them for the crucial cross-cutting stage. As the raw banknote paper moves along the conveyor, the laser guide ensures flawless alignment, demonstrating
Inside the money factory, how raw paper turns into real banknotes, the full process.
Inside the money factory, raw paper is transformed into real currency. The stacks must meet razor-sharp perfection.
Once printed, the sheets are cut and stacked, ready for the final stage of packaging by these robotic arms. Here, the freshly printed notes are rapidly bound into stacks of 100 using a durable paper band before moving to the next stage. To ensure the integrity of the stack, the heat seal applies immense pressure. That small puff of steam indicates
The bundling machine now consolidates the 10 small stacks into a single, large brick, preparing them for the vault.
Once bundled, the bricks are tightly wrapped in a protective plastic film, ensuring their security during transit.
The freshly printed notes are bundled into a brick and sent through the heat tunnel, where the plastic wrap shrinks tightly, securing the currency.
Here we see the final verification stage, where the security seal is stamped onto the freshly wrapped banknotes.
Inside the money factory, the full process concludes with automation. These robotic arms handle the final stage, stacking the freshly printed hundreds.
Once bundled, the bricks of new banknotes are secured by this pallet wrapper before being shipped out.
In this high-security facility, autonomous guided vehicles transport the specialized paper before the printing process begins.
Inside the money factory, how raw paper turns into real banknotes. This is the full process. Deep inside the money factory, the process of turning raw paper into these towering stacks of real currency is a symphony of precision and security.
Inside the money factory, how raw paper turns into real banknotes. Full process.
It's at this stage that the quality control team ensures the raw paper has become a genuine banknote, complete with security features.
Notice the intricate detail of the ink ridges, designed to deter counterfeiting. This is the hallmark of genuine currency.
Inside the money factory, we see how raw paper turns into real banknotes. The full process begins with the security thread.
Inside the money factory, the raw paper undergoes rigorous inspection. The ghost image watermark is the first line of defense against counterfeiting.
Inside the money factory, the raw paper is transformed as the unique serial numbers are stamped onto each note.
The entire production line hums with activity, a complex dance of man and machine turning raw paper into real banknotes.
The journey begins here, as vast quantities of wood chips are fed into the system, the first critical step in creating.
Deep inside the money factory, the crusher gears begin the transformation, turning raw paper into real banknotes.
The massive guillotine blade rises and falls in a precise, hypnotic rhythm, transforming the raw sheets into crisp, new banknotes. Once the sheets are inspected, they are cut and bundled. Here you see the final product sliding down the chute.
Inside the money factory, we see how raw paper turns into real banknotes, starting with this wood dust.
A look inside the money factory, where raw paper is rapidly transformed into real banknotes in this high-speed process.
Deep within the money factory, these silent machines hold the latent power to transform raw cotton and linen into the nation's currency.